What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly sports history for November 22nd, 2023. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Happy Thanksgiving Eve. There was a point in time in the not-so-distant past where I'd be gearing up for big night out on the town, going out with some friends, catching up with some old friends. And now, to be quite honest with you, the thought of standing in a bar, shoulder to shoulder with people, being all sweaty, in some cases, people that I don't know. There's a reason why you only see them once a year. Just really stresses me out. So I will be buying a 6-pack of some pretty good beer, putting my feet up, making some homemade pizza with the kids. The wife already said there's a new movie she saw on Netflix she wants to watch. So that's how I'll be spending my Thanksgiving Eve. But if you are going out, be safe, call an Uber. Don't do something stupid, but enjoy yourself. All right. Let's start with the recap of yesterday's question of the day. And I didn't spend a ton of time on it, but I mentioned that Chase Utley was on the Hall of Fame ballot. And I asked, is he going to get in eventually? I think we can all agree he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer. And shockingly, and I mean, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't be shocked just because of the way people love Chase Utley, but 70% of you felt that he will get into the Hall of Fame eventually. I wish I would have done the same thing with Jimmy Rollins. I did do an episode of Back to the Future on the Hall of Fame candidacy of Jimmy Rollins and where I stand with that. So it's a good week to kind of catch up on, go back and listen to that. But I'm anxious to see where people stand on that, because to me, where that team, Jimmy Rollins, is the top guy, and then you have Chase, then it's Ryan, Cole kind of fitting in there. You can even make a case like Victorino, but I think Jimmy should be in. I feel Chase is like that next tier down, the Hall of Very Good. I kind of put him on the same tier with Donovan, where I would not be surprised if they did get in, and it would not surprise me if they did not get in. I will say, John Foley at 2008 Phils on his Twitter, remember during Philly season we had the partnership with him, his newsletter. Definitely go check it out. It's a great thing. But he did sort of a series of posts putting Chase's numbers and comparing them to all-time second basemen. And I have to say, if you do it strictly based on the position, Chase is up there in the top 5, top 10 in a lot of the major categories that you would think. And oftentimes he's the only guy that's not in the Hall of Fame. So it's definitely, I mean, John made a very compelling case that really got me thinking. And again, I don't know how the baseball writers do it and how they sort of prioritize, whether they look at positions, they compare them to the whole thing, a combination of both. But if you're looking strictly at second baseman, Chase definitely has a strong case to get in eventually. Same way with Jimmy Rollins if you're looking at shortstops. I mean, Jimmy's a shoo-in if you're looking strictly at shortstops. And even open it up a little bit more, he definitely makes a compelling case. But 70% of you, let me know, and this is not going to be the question of the day, but let me know what your thoughts are on Jimmy. Should he be in as well, and will he get in eventually? I think this is like his second or third year on the ballot, maybe. Hard to believe that those guys that we grew up hanging out and watching down at Citizens Bank Park are old enough to be in the Hall of Fame. But give me just a quick line shout for that. Speaking of John, congrats to him. He is the new Phillies beat writer for PHLY Sports. I think, I don't know if it's, I don't think they call it Philly. I think it's the PHLY. A lot of guys that used to work on some of the radio stations started the company. They have some good content as well. John's awesome. So he's going to bring a lot of wealth of knowledge and just content to them. So shout out and congrats to him. If you ever need something this day in Philly sports history, PHLY Sports, hit me up. I'm open. Kidding, not really though. I really would love to do a daily shot on something. Channel 10 already stole my Tuesday positivity, so if you see somebody else doing this day in Philly sports history, you know they stole it from me. So just call me. All right, couple quick housekeeping notes before we get into today's episode. There is a Back to the Future I did last week on the Frankfurt Yellow Jackets. There will not be a new episode this week due to Thanksgiving. We will be back next week. So it's a good week to check out the archives. Like I always say, this is more based on the date. But I think you could even do the archives for this. But Back to the Future is just based on the topic, so you can go check out the archives and you can pick right up where you left off. So good time to catch up. If you're not familiar, Back to the Future is the other podcast I do. It's Back to the Future with a PH, found on the same platforms you're getting this. So be sure to check it out. When you go visit family tomorrow, let them know. Tell them, hey, check out This Day in Philly Sports History. Check out Back to the Future. Let's help grow this thing. There will be a This Day in Philly Sports History tomorrow. We do not take a day off. I am over a year plus in without missing a show. Just shows my dedication and love for what this is. And again, it is Thanksgiving, and I'll get more into this tomorrow. But I am very thankful for you, our listeners, because if not for you, I'd just be sitting here talking out the window to a tree. So thank you for listening. And again, let's continue to grow this. The sky is the limit. I mean, we've done so much in the past year plus, and I have so many good things coming up on the horizon. So spread the word, like and subscribe, leave a comment, all that other good stuff. All right, let's start with the Eagles. And now that I've had some time to reflect, kind of a couple things on the way they're winning and the winning ugly, as everybody likes to call it. And I think we were spoiled. Last year, they just dominated every game for the most part, minus the games they lost. And I think they got out big, and we were just spoiled because of the way they looked doing it. And even in 2017, when they went to the Super Bowl, if you think back, I mean, they did very similar things. They just dominated most teams. But again, that's not normal. And I think back to like the Andy Reid, Donovan McNabb era. Yes, they didn't win a Super Bowl, but they were in a very similar position, always at the top of the NFC. And there were some stinkers. Even the year they went to the Super Bowl, they played a close game against the Ravens that was like a 13-7 game. The game against the Cowboys where they clinched number 1 seed with Roy Williams, horse collar, and T.O. That was like a 12-7 game. So they played some ugly, nasty, as Nick Sirianni put it yesterday. Excuse me. I apologize. So unprofessional. I'm trying to get past this cold, and it's like hanging on. It just won't go away. So I do apologize for that. But Nick Sirianni said it was a grimy win, and grimy wins count too. And if you think back to a lot of those games in the Donovan, Andy Reid era, they all weren't the pretty flashy ones. So I think we were spoiled, and I think we're kind of hanging on to those, the 2017, the way they looked, and last year the way they looked. And reality is this team is 9-1, and they don't look it, but I feel they're a better team than they were last year. And I know people are going to be like, what are you talking about? I just think top to bottom, because of their experience, they know they're going to win. And I think that's a scary thing when a team, and I go back to like those, I keep mentioning like the 90 Cowboys and the Niners and Packers, that you just knew somehow they were going to win. Patriots with Tom Brady. And like, as weird as it was, like, there's been times where I just get feelings, especially even in close games, where you're like, they're not going to win this game. But there was just something about that game Monday night where you just were like, maybe they can't. Like, you started to feel it, and the closer it was, the later it got, the more you felt it. So I think that was my takeaway, is we were spoiled, and we're used to these pretty masterpieces when reality, the kids scribbling artwork from when they were 3, hanging that on the fridge, it was just as meaningful. And that's what this Eagles team is. They're 9-1, which leads to the next point. And we had a debate in one of my text threads about this, about a lot of people are saying, the Eagles haven't played their best game. And there's definitely a camp that says, well, maybe this is their best and this is what they are. There's the other side that says, no, they still can play better. I tend to think they have not played their best game. I mean, they've played great games where the offense carried the defense and the defense carried the offense like Monday night. They have not played a game where they put them both together. And if it was just like a fluky game here or there that the offense looked good, or if it was a fluky game here or there where the defense looked good, I could say, okay, maybe you're right. But to me, it's going to come together. And when it does, whoo, man, we're going to go back to those dominating performances we had. So just bear with the ugly. The story of the black swan that turns into the ugly duckling that turns into the Black Swan was a different movie. Sorry. But the ugly duckling that turns into the beautiful swan, that's where I think this team is. This is the ugly duckling right now. And it's going to turn into the beautiful swan. Just going to hang in there and be patient. But that is today's question of the day. Which camp are you? Is it a case where the Eagles have not played their best game yet and the best is still yet to come? Or as Denny Green said, they are who we thought they were, and this is who they are. Like, is this the Eagles? They're just going to win sloppy the entire time. I think either way, as Eagles fans, we need to take it. But let me know, which camp are you? Are you on camp, they have not played their best game yet? Or camp, no, this is just who they are. They're going to win ugly, and it's going to be just disgusting every week. Let me know. Be sure to leave a comment wherever you're watching or listening to this. Hit me up on social media, Twitter, TikTok, Jimbo_Mont, Instagram @PhillyJimbo. If you're friends with me on Facebook, I'll post it there. If you're listening on Spotify through the app, the question will be there. Let me know. Shoot me text messages, whatever you got to do. Let me know. Which camp are you? Is this a case of the Eagles haven't played their best game, or just, nope, this is just who they are, and they're going to win ugly? And finally, the final note on the Eagles. I'm just kind of loving the Nick Sirianni thing. I'm seeing so much hate, and people hate him. Like, he's cocky, he's this, he's that. And I've said it a million times. If he wasn't our coach, I would hate him. But he's our coach, and I love the fact that he's doing it. And again, I mentioned it slightly yesterday. We're turning into those teams that we hated as fans when we weren't quite there. Now that we're there, we deserve to be cocky. We've earned this. So Nick Sirianni's saying, I don't hear you now, Chief fans, and see ya, and running over, high-fiving the crowd, which, again, it's the same people all the time. And I forgot the other guy is the guy with the tattoo with the Philly Fanatic on his belly button. I always see him everywhere, too. It's almost like they get paid to be fans. But I know, because I've seen them at games, like, I know they're real people. But I love it. I love every second of Nick Sirianni being as cocky as he is. Now, it is going to grow old if he does not bring home a Super Bowl. But for right now, man, just enjoy it. Again, it doesn't matter what they look like. Tell them about yourself. Tell them how good you are, Nick. Let them know. All right, enough about that. Speaking of ugly, the Sixers game yesterday, they lost in overtime to the Cavs, 122-119. It just was not. It wasn't that close. It went into overtime, and the Sixers battled back to take it into overtime, but it should not have been. It just was a sloppy, ugly game. It happens. They're officially eliminated from the in-season tournament, which, again, it would have been nice, but if you keep big picture what we want, the in-season tournament doesn't mean that much, despite the fact that the NBA is trying to turn it into like a secondary championship. But now they will. I don't know how the formula is going to work. They somehow have some formula where they'll play two more teams now that did not make it possible. And that's where I got confused, because there's an uneven number. That might be somebody out of conference, might not be. But they'll play like the in-between days of the quarterfinals. So two more games on the schedule. But no, we're not going to Vegas. But that's all right. Good news for Kelly Oubre. He might be able to come back and play next week, which is good for this team, because truthfully, since he's gone out, is when they sort of started to look more and more sloppy. So he'll provide a little bit of a spark. Hopefully he can come back and start contributing, and then we can get into, like, it's December now, and then we can start getting in to see where this team is and what moves they can make. Flyers are in action tonight against the Islanders, looking to win their sixth straight. And shockingly, in case you haven't really been paying attention, the Flyers are a top 5 team in the Eastern Conference right now. Yeah. So, I mean, it's fun. I'll take it. I'm telling you, get on the bandwagon now. This is the time to do it. I'm telling you, get on now. And then when this team takes off and Danny Briere leads them to the promised land, you can say I was on from the ground floor. If you're like me, though, you need to get some Flyers gear. And I've been kind of thinking about, do I get a hat? Do I go to Philly Goat and get one of those things? And then I got an email from Ryan yesterday, and I didn't even realize this on their site. I know what I'm going to get. They have, remember a couple weeks ago we talked about the Philadelphia Quakers, the team that moved from Pittsburgh, played 1 year in Philly in the 30s, and then basically folded because of the Great Depression. Inspired by that post, Philly Goat has a Philadelphia Quakers sweatshirt, an exact replica of what their sweaters look like from the 30s, and it is a thing of beauty. Go to phillygoat.com, check that out. It's been inspired by our podcast. Makes me feel good. You should feel good as our listeners. But go check it out. It's phenomenal. It's literally the exact replica on a sweatshirt, and it's everything you think and hoped it would be. That's the Flyers thing I want to get, and then I'll get an orange Flyers hat to match. But I'm telling you, get on the Flyers bandwagon now. Go to Philly Goat, pick up that Quakers shirt. I did talk to Ryan yesterday. It's like I told you, it's a great place to do your Christmas shopping. And if you are going to do it and your Christmas shopping, your time is running out, but you still have time to get it done. And I want to make sure I get this date right. So let me look here on my phone. If you are going to do it, December 10th. If you get your order in by December 10th, you'll get it by Christmas. But why wait? Go do it now. It's Black Friday. 10% off. Use that promo code Jim Montgomery. Show Ryan that you're listening. Support him. Support me. Support us. Let's grow this thing. But man, you can get a Mega John hoodie. You can get the Quakers sweatshirt. Get a Maxi t-shirt. And then pick up a few Philly Fanatic shirts for your kids. Come on now. Go phillygoat.com. Use the promo code 10% off for your order. And honestly, thank you guys, because without you, I wouldn't be able to have this great partnership with them, and they wouldn't listen to us every day and then take what we talk about here and turn it into a sweatshirt. Phenomenal. Go get your Quakers sweatshirt, and I'm telling you, jump on the Flyers bandwagon now before it's too late. All right, today we're going to go back and discuss one of our all-time favorite teams, and this is where it really started to take off with us and Philly Goat when we did the Lovable Loser tournament over the summer. But today we're going to go back to the year 2000. And on this day, the Hornets beat the Sixers 88-73. Yeah, that was not a third quarter score. That was a final score. It was the Sixers' first loss of the season. That was the 2000-2001 season where they went to the NBA Finals, and because of that, they won our Lovable Loser tournament in the summertime. But they opened the season with 10 straight. That was the year Allen Iverson won the MVP. However, this night he had his worst game of the season by far. Shot 3 for 17, 1 for 2 from the free throw line. Now, more so than the 3 for 17, because he threw up some clunkers back in his day. But the fact that he only went to the foul line twice, and that was a key part of his season that year, and a key part of his career was driving the lanes and getting pounded by the big guys and then making foul shots. He only got there twice. Ended the night with 7 points. Unfortunately for the Sixers, no one else did any better. They shot 34% from the floor. The Hornets really, obviously they scored 88, but didn't do much better, scoring 39 or only shooting 39% of the ball. But that win streak, the Sixers were the 12th team in history to begin the year with a winning streak of 10 or more games. Since 2000, 2 more teams have done it. The 2000 Mavericks did 14 in a row. And then you might remember that juggernaut 2016 Warriors team that won 24 straight to start the season. But on this day, the Sixers' 10-game winning streak to end the season, or 10-game winning streak to start the season, ended with an 88-73 loss to the Hornets. It's just a complete and utterly disgusting game. But luckily, better days were ahead as they made that magical run to the finals. All right. Been telling you about Carcan. Time is running out for them as well. great gift for the people in the office. Obviously, you're not going to buy your nephew or your grandmom a car can. Go to Philly Goat and handle that. But car can, get it for the people in the office. I'm buying it for some people on my team. So if people on my team will listen, surprise, you're getting a car can. But it's great. It fits right on the back of your seat. Throw your trash in. I'm telling you, there's more trash. I've had to empty it twice already because my kids they feel the need to just put trash in there now because it's there. It's not going to end up on your floor. If you don't have kids, they have a wide selection of other car organizational things. They have things for your glove box. The trunk thing is great. If I had a trunk and not a truck, this would be great to just kind of put soccer cleats, sports equipment, whatever, your jumper cables. Some people have like an emergency kit. Throw all that stuff in there. It's great. Cup holders. Go check them out. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery 20 off for 20% off your order. That's carcan.com. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery 20 off. Great gift for people in the office. If you're an Uber driver, treat yourself. If you run a fleet of Ubers, treat your staff with it. Help keep their cars clean. Check them out. Jim Montgomery 20 off for 20% off your order. That's carcan.com. All right, continuing our Philly sports most disappointing athlete. Today we're going to see, I've been telling you, I'm very high on the Flyers today, but we're going to go with Peter Forsberg. Now, ironically enough, Peter Forsberg was originally drafted by the Flyers, number 6 overall in 1991. You might remember he was involved in kind of a throw-in player at that point in that trade to the Quebec Nordiques with 5 other players, 2 first-round draft picks, and $15 million for Eric Lindros. Well, in the time that since he left Philly, before he came back, he became one of the top 100 players in NHL history, won 2 Stanley Cups. After the lockout, he came back and signed a 2-year, $11.5 million deal with the Flyers in 2005. Prior to that season, he had a bursa sac removed from his ankle, and then he had a groin injury. He only played like 50 games. Prior to the 06-07 season, he had ankle surgery. If you remember, like his foot was messed up. It was just a whole messed up situation. And that season actually was the worst, even worse than last year. Worst season in Flyers team history. All told, Peter Forsberg only played 100 games for the Flyers, 30 goals, 85 assists. Not bad, but man, came in with so much hype. And as is the case usually with the Flyers, I could have made a list of disappointing Flyers and guys they brought in at the end of their career who had great careers. Like I'm thinking like a guy like Adam Oates, for instance. But I think the only guy they ever brought in that played very well for them near the end of his career was Yager. But he's just an anomaly and like in another world. But today, Peter Forsberg, Philly sports most disappointing athlete, drafted, went and had great success elsewhere, came back and shit the bed. So what could have been, and I think I got an idea. And a lot of times this is what happens, and I know we're running long now, but this is what happens sometimes with Back to the Future. Like I'll be doing stuff and I'm like, man, like that. This is a great episode, the Peter Forsberg, Eric Lindros trade. Like, what if they would have kept him? So stay tuned for that coming up on a very near future episode of Back to the Future. One last housekeeping note and I'm excited to announce this for December. We got 2 things going on. We're going to spend the first 24 days of the month. I'm going to introduce the Philly Sports Advent Calendar. We spend a lot of time talking about the 4 majors. There's a lot of other teams and players and sports that this is sort of inspired by the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame. So each day we're going to open up the door and see what we get through until Christmas, and then we'll do kind of the best of the year in review the week in between Christmas and New Year's. But stay tuned for the Philly Sports Advent Calendar coming next week. I'm very, very, like I said, excited for that. And also, I don't know what your charitable donations and things are, but one thing I do with my kids, I've done it for a year or 2 now, is we do a reverse advent calendar. Basically, every day, and I get them involved. Like I get the stuff from the grocery store, I have them put it in bags. Each day it's a different food item, and then we take it and we donate it to a local food bank for the holidays. I want to do something bigger. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to involve you, and it's the first ever annual This Day in Philly Sports History food drive, reverse advent calendar. I haven't really worked on the name now that I'm thinking about it, but I'm going to let you know what we're putting in, and then you can take it and donate it to whatever your local food bank is. So stay tuned for that for December. On this day, back in 2000, the Hornets beat the Sixers 88-73, snapping their 10-game winning streak to start off their season. Be sure to go to Car Can and Philly Goat to do your Christmas shopping. Remember to let me know what your thoughts are on the Eagles. Are they a team that just has not played their best game yet, or is this who they were? As Denny Green would say, they are who we thought they were. It's Thanksgiving Eve. We will be back tomorrow with another live episode. Be safe out there if you're going to go out. Like I said, don't do anything stupid. Grab an Uber. But enjoy your Wednesday. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History. I'm Jim Montgomery. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you.